This is the Cougar Football Preview. Brought to you by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
What a beautiful, perfect, fall, crisp Cougar football Saturday in front of the Cougar Pride statue. Great to be with you here before pregame. We got our three keys. Let's get right to them. First one, 551 yards in Gage Gubrud's first ever game as a starting QB. It was here in Martin Stadium when they beat the Cougs 45-42. I'd imagine he's got to be one of the three keys today.
100%, Chaz. Cougs have to control Gubrud. He is super talented, whether he's throwing the football or running the football, and it's going to be very important that Washington State's defense is disciplined with their eyes, make sure they don't get caught off guard by the RPO, fake runs, and they contain Gubrud all night.
Yeah, he had 77 rushing yards and a rush TD in that game to go with over 400-plus passing yards. On the flip side, for the Cougs scoring the ball, Bob said in the booth, I asked him, should we go to Tay Martin? Should the Cougs go to Tay? And he said, well, he's a star. That's what he said. He said he's a star. What do you think?
Yeah, when you got a star, you got to get him the rock. 6 catches, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns last week versus San Jose State in the first quarter. They got to find a way to get him the football as many times as possible. It could be downfield. It could be on screen plays. It could be on the fly sweeps like we saw last week. Any way you can get Tay Martin the football, Washington State has to do it.
In theory, one of the big differences between Power 5 FBS football and FCS football is the big boys, in theory. And that may not be the case here because those guys were 300 pounds across on the O-line for Eastern when they came here 2 years ago.
Sure, Eastern Washington is talented on the offensive and defensive lines, but at the same time, Washington State's got to be able to control the trenches. That is the natural point where Washington State should have an advantage is on offensive and defensive lines, especially that Washington State defensive line, as fast and as athletic as they are, matching up against the Eastern Washington offensive line. Get pressure on Gubrud, and then offensively, that offensive line, if Washington State can run the football against a little bit smaller Eastern Washington defensive line, I think Washington State wins this football game.
Big game, chance to go 3-0, kick off at 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock airtime on Rogers Field with Derek Dice and the boys.
This has been the Cougar Football Preview. Brought to you by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.